Got it.
Got it.
Got it.
I'm not afraid. Okay. Thanks. Bye. Oh, hello.
Elite training. Let's open up the block. Okay.
Yay!
There she
There
is.
she is.
Yay.
Hey.
Thanks so much, Keith, for setting this up.
Hey, it's not my fault if you can't figure out how to get on.
You're right.
I
I'll remember
sent
that.
a link
I'll
in
remember
an
that
email
for
that
your
is
email,
just
too.
the link.
Yep. I'm going to send you what you sent me. Well, how we all doing? Is everybody healthy?
Avoiding
Getting
COVID.
there.
Is everybody negative?
Yeah.
I don't know. I stopped testing.
Yeah. My son's
Never was
GMDS
positive.
group says, don't test, just rest.
Yeah, yeah.
Don't
my
even
God.
test, just go. If you're sick, go rest. When you're better, come on out.
Okay. Okay.
All right. Well, hey, I don't want to keep you long enough. We've already been 15 minutes trying to get on here. So, you guys saw the agenda, right?
Yeah.
Time-wise and everything else like that. Is everyone okay with that?
Yep.
Mhm.
Yep.
I'll connect here because you're one of the major leaders here. You okay? Time-wise, it's no different than really what we do before. So what I thought we'd do is just review what the contents are, because I talked about splitting all you folks up in both our groups evenly so you can assist and help out and help guide, especially with some of the category A's that will be, maybe not in tune with everything as we are as much. So we can keep things moving a little bit. Keith and I and Jay and Dave, we liked what we did out at Rocky Mountain, correct?
Great.
Yep.
So it's not quite like we're copying it, but we thought we'd go through the topics somewhat like that, and then we're even more unified in training through Rocky Mountain and all the other ones, which should help make Carrie happy in the office, and we're on the same type of topics. So I thought the first topic, we started out with Keith. Feel free to hop in here, and Jay and Dave anytime. Is we basically kind of pose the question, and unlike Jim Shaw, when Jim comes in, he goes, well, what Keith says he might do and what I might do might be totally different, but it's all important. I think it's best that we're on the same page, okay? Because we're not giving it to 25 other people. We're trying to get a message across for our group to get on the same page and go through there. So I think that the first question, and I didn't send this out to you, and I will, is a question about what did you like about the learning connection model? So we get the groups together, we out and free ski. You notice I put a little free skiing in before we meet so they can get their jollies out like we did at Rocky Mountain.
Yep.
We meet at 10 o'clock. It will split the groups up. I'll have colors or 1 and 2, so they're split evenly. Is go ski a run, grab your partners, grab some people. What do you like about the learning connection model? The things that came out at ours was from Interski, from Keith, what they produced was collaboration, student-centered, and kind of non-linear were the notes that I wrote down. Now, granted, our group could come up with something totally different, right? And I think that's okay, right?
Very.
But what do they like about the learning connection model? Then that will give Keith and I and you folks with us kind of an understanding of what they really know about the learning connection model, which I'm sure they all do, but what they want to take out of it could be different. So you kind of have to feel that for like a few runs or a run or two, and maybe you bring it back in to collaboration, student-centered, and somewhat non-linear.
Yep.
Does anybody have any comments about that? Sound okay?
Yeah.
Sounds good.
It's not German or, it's not way off the topic. I mean, it's kind of nuts and bolts, really, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then Keith, what I thought we could do, and this is what we thought might happen at Pro Jam, but it kind of didn't, because you kind of taught about the first time lesson. is that we reviewed Japan, Swiss, French, Brits, United States, Italian, and Finns, and Norway, kind of what their philosophies and kind of what their movements were, their gross movement patterns or their fundamentals. Now, I still remember them pretty well from Interski, there being there twice, and then Keith has them. So that would be kind of a generalization by us. So, Japan, Keith, if you could help out here, they're accurate, they're snappy, they want carving, they were kind of low, the stable was very torso, very, very exact. So there's some of the things I brought up there. So we could throw that out to the group and demo and show and see what they think about that. The Swiss were very tall. They had that thing that the West likes, the inclination before angulation type of movement. They had that swooping outside leg, and they had a lot less counter than most of the other groups. So, and even if it's not quite right, see how it differs from the Japanese a little bit. So there's what we're really doing is kind of exploring the dirt range a little bit, the ranges of things, without really saying that. French were quick, platform skiing, the Jabarian stuff. Very extension flexion oriented, very counter, very twisty oriented, that type of thing. Once again, that plays into us for our tactics and terrain. Brits, I didn't really have a good thing on Brits. Keith,
There you go.
You have a comment on Brits?
Surprisingly enough, the Brits are very close to what we're doing now. They've kind of turned tide.
Okay. And then that
What's a turn tide?
And then, of course, us, and I would say, for us, it's utilizing both skis effectively. Ski performance and body performance, how the two affect each other. And there's no real right way. The right way is what the terrain conditions and tactics need to be for what you're trying to produce, right? Except for maybe our beginner lesson where we try to get actively both the skis releasing and moving into the turn, I think more so than any other country. And then the Italians, Keith, I had strong, low, a lot of cross under, a lot of retraction, right down the fall line. The Finns in Norway were, I thought, were somewhat similar. They had a very strong lead change. Quick feet, lots of strong power with the front leg. So, viewing the learning connection model, reviewing some of those things, letting everybody kind of ski them in partners or however you group them up, getting some conversation going. When is effective? When isn't effective? That sort of thing. Could probably use up to 2 hours pretty easily and get everybody kind of like, okay, yeah, I'm all over the place, but I got all this stuff and it's all in here. So that's my download. Go ahead and comment.
Keith is smiling, but he's not saying anything.
Well, I mean, I like the plan. I mean, it sounds really good. There are way more similarities between the countries now than even the previous interski, especially being that the student focus, student centered is everything now, and so that really kind of centered everybody up pretty well. There are some nuances between the countries that are kind of fun to explore. Switzerland still being very heavy with lateral exploration. Canada, US, and Britain are very turn, twist oriented. And then everybody else is kind of a smattering here and a smattering there. And then Slovenia is just a weird outlier because they don't have any off-piste. So they're like, anything you can feed us, great. We don't know what to do with it. The one guy. So there.
Okay. Good. Anybody else?
If you're going to do two groups, presumably we'll make sure, because between the wisdom separated between the two of you and make sure that everybody gets all of it, even when we switch over?
No, this group, one group will be with Keith, one group will be me and with you guys, and that'll be it.
Okay.
We're not going to come back and revisit this again.
Okay.
It's really just a warm-up activity to get them
Right.
around the learning connection model, making sure everybody really
Mhm.
understands it, and then seeing how it affects all the other countries with kind of like fundamentals and it's kind of techniques that other people have that we incorporate in all of ours, kind of like the range of motions and stuff like that.
So some sharing afterwards between ourselves would probably be the end result as well.
We certainly should get together. Maybe if I'll write that down. How about we group up right in front of K1 and then we can all kind of let everybody do a summary on what they got. That
Yeah.
sound good? Okay.
Mhm.
Thanks,
The
Ellen.
other thing that would be good is if they want to explore the countries more, we can do that at the bar.
Yeah.
Vodka
not a
versus aquavit, or what do you probably like?
Okay. All right. So moving right along. The second stage is we'll flip-flop the groups and renumber them. And so they're different people. And you folks going with Keith and me will kind of flip-flop too a little bit. And then what I really enjoyed, Keith, I don't know if you did, I don't know if we talked about this, Dave and Jay, is I like that second half where Greg Dixon got out and really said, this is where the rubber meets the road. This is what good skiing is in the United States.
Yeah.
And I can review it, but it's nothing that none of you know. It's, utilizing both skis. It's really managing pressure over the range of motion of your turn, utilizing both skis, all the inside stuff, releasing early, using the inside ski early, using the outside ski kind of early and mid, and then retracting and moving that on over and turning against the core if you need to for countering and things like that. And then adjusting that to terrain and conditions, but that being the bulk of it. And that kind of pulls the fundamentals all in together, and we can exemplarize them. Because I think the fundamentals are getting a little, at least maybe into us, or what are different, pressure management, pressure is just coming up constantly all the time. And, and it is very, very important. But as we know, most of the pressure is a result of centrifugal, centripetal, and gravitational forces. It's not what we're applying to the skis. It is something, but there's far more of that. And I really think that we're getting way off base because they're talking about all three pressure things now. So it's just edging and a little rotary and then three pressure things. So I'd like to kind of get that honed in so it's a little bit balanced type of thing. And so in that respect, I thought we would talk about it and add it to each one of the, course pieces you add to the skiing turn and what you do. And then you can put them in groups and really kind of hone that on in and a fair amount of free skiing with that one. Okay.
Lots.
Yeah. And I have it ending around, I think 3, I think somewhat close, so we don't overdo everything. More so we can get back to the hotel and get everybody back listening. Because if we have the Kathy thing like we had last year, that kind of skewed things a little bit. So I'd like to get back early. So if Carrie wants to, mesh in, and which she will, that we can get that kind of absorbed along with Dave, you doing a little base camp blurb, right?
Yep.
And then Keith,
Yep.
if you don't mind doing the level 1 overall, hitting the bullets, and then also how we might approach it in a topical clinic that's not a level 1 clinic.
Yep.
Right? Because that's where we do probably 70% of our level 1s.
Yeah.
It might be 1 or 2 to your group or whatever the case may be, but how can we do a better job instead of just, you ski good enough. Yeah, you know what's going on. Yeah, we talked about it. Yeah, here's your pin.
Yeah.
Kind of like making them do when they teach or talk, they have to talk about beginner stuff and things like that.
How do we get it so we get the quality of what we need out of the level 1 candidate, but have the organization set up so everybody's having a really good time and learning?
Yeah. And I'm somewhat concerned about that because I think we could get called by the office on that. You know, I know I slack sometimes with that stuff. It's a
Mm.
Jay's Tree Clinic from Mad River, and it's pal. Last time I'm on fucking level 1. Yeah, dude, go ahead, teach me
Yeah.
something how to do beginner pal. You know, okay, you're in. You know,
Yeah.
so I know I am guilty there of that. So. Okay, and then that'll be whatever Carrie does, and then we have some jackets for everybody, and then I wasn't planning on. We have a little party there, but I wasn't bringing the aquavit and salmon. We're gonna try to do something a little bit different, a little bit more towards Keith's Finland area. See if I can get some, well, I'll surprise you.
I'm gonna try to work on some of that possibility on Monday too.
Okay, well then maybe you and I should talk on the side and bring some aquavit if anybody has any of that shitty stuff.
Although the Finnish aquavit is actually quite yummy.
Oh yeah.
I finally have had real aquavit.
Is that the one with the anise in it?
Well, there was that one, but they actually had some top shelf Norwegian aquavit.
Yeah, we're not gonna get that.
Which Lynn is not.
That's a soft shoulder one.
It's the beginning of the end, I'm just saying.
Yeah. Well, just a little bit before we go out.
Yeah. Although they do have Finland also has and I'm not getting any of this, has a Jägermeister alternative.
Wow.
It's got that berry in it. And I'm like, yeah, I had one of those shots. I'm like,
Isn't it?
It was quite good.
Isn't it Ligonberry? It's Ligonberry.
Yeah, it's basically death by Ligonberry.
Yeah.
We did some of that last week.
Yeah, we did. We did.
All right.
And then I haven't talked about dinners and stuff. I'll come back to the end. And then the next day I have a little later start because I know everybody throws down hard that night and we have to pack and get out. So it's just a 15 half hour later start.
Yeah.
And then we'll go out with Keith and I again with you folks, just as important. And then what I thought we'd do is we really go over to level 1. You know?
Yeah.
And we start off, Keith, with the movement analysis portion.
Yep.
Now, for me, that whole thing we did out west, it was relevant and good, but it took some while and complicated and only puts out 1 or 2 people.
Yeah.
So my suggestion is, and on your choices here, is we don't offer them what to do. We let them offer us what they could do.
Mhm.
Yeah.
If
Yeah.
it falls short, the facilitators and the co-facilitators will then throw in the observer, candidate, skier, examiner thing.
Yep.
But if we set that whole effing thing up, it takes up
Yeah.
all the
All
time.
day.
Yeah.
And nobody gets any input except for the one
Right.
person. It's all about them. And
Right.
we have too many of us to be like that.
Yeah.
All know it's about who.
Yeah.
Oh God.
So the job that would be what could you come up for movement analysis that's going to incorporate everybody? How can you effectively score it? Remember, correct me if I'm wrong, 1 fundamental and 1 turn phase.
Yes.
Right.
Yep.
For level 1. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And then if somebody does 1 and does it in 1 turn phase, then okay, now how can we extrapolate that to a different turn phase? We really need to hit all the turn phases for them so we know where they really are at, type of thing. Is my ideas. And then the part of that would be, mentioning the blended skills, which are the demos, right?
Yep.
The applied skills, which are like the free skiing or performance skiing. And then the versatility, which is the silly human tricks. So
Yeah. Highlighted.
we'll let Keith ski backwards and carve for us, and Jay.
Yeah.
And then we'll throw Mike Vegan out there and see what he does.
He'll go backwards,
So-
but he'll lie down at the same time.
Touch base on blended, applied, and versatility. And then the other thing is what? With the comments and everything is what?
SBI.
Yep.
SBI.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, got it.
Situation, behavior, impact.
Yep,
Yeah.
situation, behavior, and impact. Now,
Mhm.
I still have a hard time tying that to our performance guide. When we say performance guide, I don't have a mental image of what that is in my head.
I
To me,
do, and
it's
it's
the
still
old exam
complicated.
guide. To me, it's the old exam guide or standards, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Correct me.
No, it's
What is
it's-
our performance guide? Is there something that says telemark performance guide?
Yeah,
Is
there
that-
is.
There is.
Yeah.
Think of it as so in our old exam guide, it's more the training section near the back.
Okay.
Hmm.
I mean, it's more than that, but it's
Does the
It's-
performance guide have the part in it where it says, you know, a successful
Successful-
candidate is this and a
Mhm.
not successful is this, right?
Okay.
yeah,
Yeah.
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 And the
Yeah.
telemark
That's
one
kind
is
of
actually a
global
little
and vague
cleaner.
then too, right? That's kind of global and vague. It's not really specific, right?
A lot of it's global, especially in the teaching and people one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's some that are good, but when you go into it, a lot of it's global. So it's more
Yeah.
about in Alpine, we're just trying to be more consistent in our comments. The language is the same, but it doesn't give you a lot of specifics in a lot of the pieces.
So then with
Yeah.
that being said, that, Jay, when you did that, the situation you put us in was this, pairs, looking at each other and trying
Yeah.
to figure out a commonality.
Yeah.
That behavior was very positive. People could latch onto that. They picked out something that was common within a turn phase. And the impact was that they understood what was going on and it was correct, that
Yeah.
type of thing. So
Mhm.
I think if we kind of keep those comments like that and said, hey, Karen, really nice job carving up those turns today. You look fantastic. Yeah, you pass. That would be the fail.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
somewhere in our limelight, we need to make an association in that.
Yeah.
That makes sense?
I think that it's something that's actionable as opposed to,
That's a good word. Yeah.
you know,
Emotional.
Actionable as
yes,
opposed to
emotional.
adjective.
Yeah.
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 Emotional.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Actionable instead of emotional
Yeah, Dave.
or adjectives. And of course, the other part of the thing would be the scoring 1 through 6, right?
Right. Right.
And crux there, I think you all agree, is what, 2 numbers?
Yeah.
3
You
and
know,
4.
3
Yeah,
and 4. Yeah.
passing 3 and 4.
Right. Right.
So if you F up and
Not an average.
yeah, go ahead, Karen. Yeah, so if you give a lower score, you're gonna have to look for a higher score if you want to pass that person in essence.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I know the key to those scores is really less about when we do this, we should focus less on the number and more on the verbiage.
Of the feedback you're talking about.
No, on the
pre-section?
score itself. So if you get a 4,
Oh,
it's whatever you're performing is happening at a regular basis.
right.
And
Right, most
you know,
of the time, 51%, I think, is that,
yeah, I mean it's hard because it's kind of maybe we come up with a consensus in our
Dave?
groups of what we would call it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Dave, do you have comments that from the Alpine side there?
I mean, we're looking for definitely. It's probably higher than 50 because we're looking for is it consistent? Is it happening more times than not happening? Are the things we're seeing that not happening kind of well? It was a turn here, then 5 were good, then 1 or 2 weren't, and then 5 were good. So is it more of that a higher majority than half? So it's a consistent basis versus inconsistent. But we're still
Which
in
is
that. I mean,
technically
3-4 is
51%.
still. What's that?
That's still technically 51%.
What is?
Oh.
Well, majority, yeah, but it's got to
More
be.
than half.
It's gotta be way more than half. Not way more, but it should be more than half because it shouldn't be like 1 turn good, 1 turn bad because then it's not. That's definitely not a consistent basis. If
And
it's
so that comes up a lot with somebody in level 1 actually making a freaking telemark turn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And that's a
Yeah.
big one.
That's
is
always been our crux, right?
yeah,
Maybe what we do is not worry so much about the percentage as a raw number and have the group come up with, well, how often should they be making? Let the group
Mhm.
kind of
Mm-hmm.
what is consistent for, what are we calling consistent?
What do we
Yeah,
consider consistent at level 1? Right.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
that could be
Yeah.
a good discussion within this section here.
Mhm.
Yeah.
and there was one interesting thing. I don't know. I don't have it on this computer. I got it on the one I got the screen on, but the tele scorecard was a little different in terms of like level 1 for Alpine, we're looking at the integration of 2 fundamentals, but it didn't really, didn't say specific like you had to integrate, because the words integrate is more about vary the fundamentals in Telly, which was interesting. It was just a conversation I thought we should have and kind of look at that, how it varies. And it wasn't specific as to, like, we're so specific of 2 fundamentals for level 1, 3 have to be integrated for level 2, and then all 5, which we had the 3 in the Telly one, but level 1 didn't state like 2 fundamentals integrated. So that was interesting to me, the wording.
Yeah, and I know
Could that be,
when it
could
comes
that
down
be
to
because, sorry, Mickey,
ahead.
could that be because lead change is an assumed thing? So rotation, for example, comes in and
Yeah.
becomes the integrated second. We just haven't put it in words. Sorry, Mickey.
Yeah.
No, that's good. No,
Well, it kind of said a little bit. I was looking at it. It looked how we varied them, and it wasn't like it was one or more were varied. So it was just looking at the fundamentals. Like, are they able to do one for a while, then maybe do another one? And it wasn't like this integration thing wasn't a piece of the level 1 on the card on the criteria. It was just something I was looking at. And
I
it,
don't think we can realistically feel that people are going to memorize and know these things verbatim like
No.
we do. And half our team probably doesn't know them verbatim like we do.
No.
And
And-
then if they have one concept that's a movement that we're familiar with, that they can
Yeah.
discuss through one or any more phases of the turn, as far as I'm concerned, I think that's a get go, right?
Yeah.
Hate
Mhm.
being
And-
this so anal of one or two integrated with just one
oh,
turn.
it's brutal.
Well,
It's
you
so
know,
segmented.
yeah.
It's not real. It's not real teaching.
No.
Yeah, I really think that what Ali said, it really nails it. The fact that we're doing a lead change, which is one of our fundamentals, while we're doing, I think,
Everything
one of the
else.
other 5. So we're
Yeah.
doing 2, right? They're doing 2 at a time.
Yeah.
Which
Which is one of the reasons why I prefer highlight versus integrate,
Mhm.
because you can't. And I know that's been part of the conversation at the task force level, is to start looking at changing the conversation about the fundamentals, not changing the fundamentals, but changing the concept so that people don't think of them as a siloed individual items. As so we'll do, say, monomark, and it's highlighting this particular fundamental at this particular activity. And I know at the teaching level for this, we really want to have the candidate be able to kind of key in on a highlighted fundamental and walk us through it, rather than keying on multiple fundamentals.
Right.
Where at level 2, you may run us through a fundamental, through an activity, and then we're going to quiz you about others. But I know long term, the goal is good teaching is still good teaching, no matter what we're doing. And all this other stuff is about trying to highlight the depth of knowledge of the individuals.
Yeah, I think we've done a good job of that for over the decade, for sure. With that.
Yeah.
Be it called fundamentals or skills or whatever the hell they want to call them, right?
Mhm.
And it's really just trying to cover our asses and all get on the same page, so.
Yeah.
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 Now,
Yeah.
Mhm.
So now we're being watched, you know.
yeah.
So
So-
we
But,
kind of
yeah.
walk the talk.
But I think you're on target, Mickey, with like if you read the standard, in terms of we don't worry so much about like how many fundamentals in this, but we look at the outcome, because it's still everything's based on the outcome of the ski performance by the body of the fundamentals. So it's written right in there. What ski performance outcome are we looking for? And I think that's the picture, the kind of the few things you want the staff to see. If we all see kind of those couple things at level 1 that people are able to do with the lead change and making somewhat of a round turn. And I mean, on beginner terrain, that's key. That's
That's
what
your
the ski's supposed to do.
performance
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
And
that was
I
the performance model, right?
think we'll be good.
One of the
But-
thoughts I had was when it comes to the fundamentals, I'm not so worried unless they're actually taking a test. I couldn't care less whether anyone knows the verbiage, but it would be almost good if we could throughout the day kind of highlight our own verbiage.
Yep.
So we are at least aware
sense
of the
terms.
Yeah, it's make them your own type of thing. That way for me personally, I highlight the fundamentals when I'm talking to members that are looking to go to test. It's like, you need to figure out what this verbiage is, because the fundamentals, in my view, are body movements to create reaction in the skis. And, so find a way to come up with a verbiage so it's easy for you to remember the fundamentals, but not necessarily verbatim.
Yep. Well
Mhm.
said. Well said. I think
But
we're all.
Yeah.
I think it's very clear when we have a candidate who has a clear theory in their own mind of skiing. And that easily somehow fits in with our fundamental model,
Mhm.
even if they may use, twist instead of turn or whatever. So that it's also very clear when they are confused and they don't have a clear theory in their own mind of skiing. And they're saying, well, I'm rotating. Well, no, you're carving, So that's the difference. As long as I agree with Keith, as long as they have what I call a theory of skiing that's makes sense, separates things out enough to make sense, we're good.
Specific and accurate enough to be able to explain the body
Yeah.
movements that are making a performance into the skis, which goes right along with SBI, right?
Yeah.
I'm also, my big thought was not so much the candidate, I expected of them, but of our staff.
Mhm.
It's like, can we all come up with the fundamentals in our own words?
Well, I think that if you understand it well, you can paraphrase it.
Yeah.
It's when if you can't put it in your own words, then you don't have a very good understanding of it.
Yeah.
Right. A good trainer and teacher is somebody that makes sure somebody can see it, explain it, understand it, and perform it. Right.
Mhm. Yep.
So that would be
And
the
then there's Dave.
Yeah.
Where did that come from?
okay.
I'm just picking
know.
on Dave because
In review, day one, little free ski, throughout the learning connection model, try to get them grasping on some of the things that Keith nailed the inter-ski collaboration, student-centered and non-linear, and they might have a few more things. Review some of the different areas that you could ski from the different countries and our interpretations. And just for getting a range of motion, a little lunch break. In the afternoon, we talk about Greg Dixon's managing pressure over your range of motion and all the good things that we know about our skiing for like the middle of the road. And then how could that be applied to terrain conditions and tactics and things like that, or ski type of widths, which we have often talk about now with all of us. Since now a lot of us are going to a little smaller on piece stuff because of the harder terrain and everything. And then we do a smash session with base camp, a little level one brief, carries information, talk about the examiners are going to elevate into some jackets. And then the next day we go out there and actually apply the level one in situations of different topics. And it might be worthwhile to say, okay, who's got this clinic? I do. Okay, you got a level one in. You come up with a program of how you might deal with it, and give us a spiel type thing. And then I was planning on getting everybody out of there around 1:00 on Thursday, just for driving and getting back home, and for you guys to get back down out west and everything. The only thing I didn't really know was kind of dinners and that sort of thing. The first night, I think we wing it. Whoever's all there by that time, we could do our own thing, look at or whatever. The second night, Karen, I think, did you say something? You offered something up. I think you did.
Yeah, I would love to have you guys all over for dinner, but as far as logistics go and what we bring and what how we run it, that has yet to be determined. But I think it'll be pretty easy and cheap and super fun. You can bring your guitars and hang out, and you don't have to rush home after dinner and blah blah blah.
Right.
So.
Right. And that'll be right after the Cary base camp level one situation, so we can just chill and then go back down to Karen's and relax. So can I be as bold to say the steering committee can we take care of this dinner for Karen then?
Absolutely.
Oh, for sure.
That's a push, I know, but we're now the new core, so
I can open a bag of salad and pour it.
well, I think you got the
Might even
house.
make
Yeah.
a dressing.
Huh.
Wait. I'll bring the dessert and we'll cook it at Karen's
There you
house.
go.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
yeah, yeah.
No,
Like that
Oh
cake.
my! I remember that.
Jesus.
you were there.
We will never be doing that again. I promise.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
I don't want
Ideas
Kip to
for
kill me in my
ideas for
sleep.
entrees. Entree ideas.
Well, you know, Shannon likes to make baked ziti, so we might
Oh, perfect.
invite him to do that. And
Who
then
does?
maybe we cook a chicken or two in the oven. I don't know, but if I'm at a meeting, you know, I don't know how I'm going to do that, but
Right. That's what I'm saying.
we could throw some steaks on the grill or whatever, and have salad and
Okay.
dessert. But
I've got a bunch of ground meat from a bull that's organic. You know, I could bring up some ground beef if you want that, and burgers.
Can you make them into burgers?
I can, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
you have a very small grill. I'm just saying, it's about
Yeah.
that big.
Yeah. No,
Well,
but there's only 20 of us.
Yeah, and I
Yeah.
mean,
Get
and it might be
burgers.
like burgers and shift too. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I've got all that meat that I got to do something
Okay.
with.
All
So
right. Can you do
meat.
burgers and rolls then?
yeah, I
Yep.
can grab some
Burgers, rolls,
buns.
and cheese.
Yep.
And can somebody do baked ziti? Nobody's offering.
I don't know.
Yeah,
how
we
that's
can-
I'm not
done.
good at that stuff. I'm good
Yeah.
at burgers.
I could do the side of the baked ziti or whatever that is.
Mhm.
Maybe baked ziti.
I can buy a ready one. I'll bring a ready one from Costco. It's not a ziti, but I think they have a ready lasagna, a big one. You put
Oh,
it into
yeah?
the oven.
Oh, that's a good idea.
There we
Yeah.
go.
Yep. Okay, you got that.
Bring in one or two of those. I'll see what size it is for 20.
Burgers,
Yeah,
Jay, and buns. And Allie's got some sort of starch from Costco.
Yep.
Do you want
That
me
sounds
to,
horrible. That's
you
not
wanna
as bad
bring
as
my-
it sounds.
Keith,
So
you
you're
got dessert?
Yeah, I'll bring finished cooked almond cakes.
Keith's
So Mickey,
got
do you want
dessert.
to do a lot of cheese and like pepperoni and different salamis
You
for
wanna
like
do hors
hors
d'oeuvres?
d'oeuvre type stuff and that to get things
Oh, yeah,
going
yeah.
and some chips,
Dave?
and salsa. I mean, we
Jane,
need some
I'll-
we need some pre stuff for
I
Yep.
should
some of those
put it
boys
all-
to eat while they're having
bring
beer.
I got
and
a
Hey,
shit ton of salsa. I'll just open a few jars from the
Okay.
I'll
garden.
bring the salad. Karen,
Dave,
you don't have to do
salad.
anything.
why don't you and I organize collecting pre appetizer stuffs?
Yep.
We'll share the
How many-
wealth on that one.
How many burgers you think? 30, 40?
Jesus.
I'm only good for one burger, so there's
Well,
20.
I'll
of
take
them.
one.
So if I figure 30, so somebody
Yeah.
might eat two, but everybody
Yeah.
gets one, and then
Yeah, Bruce
Okay.
is probably going to eat a half a cow.
yeah, okay.
Who else?
I gotta tell you guys a story. When I was a kid, we used to come home from skiing on Sunday night, and we'd stop. We had 7 kids in the family. We'd stop at McDonald's, and my dad said, "How many you want? How many you want? 1 or 2?" I mean, we got no drink, no French fries, just 1 or 2 burgers.
Just burgers. Yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
God.
And then I might just throw out that here's what we're bringing. If anybody would like to bring anything else, feel free.
Nice.
Yeah, 'cause I bet a couple will bring something. Maybe Shannon will bring a ziti.
I'm sure he will.
Well, I'll let them know that Ellie's got that. And then as far as money wise, if you feel we need some, you guys will expense dinner for yourselves that night.
Okay.
I will make sure that's okay.
Okay.
And that way,
Fair enough.
Mhm.
Fair enough.
That'll work.
So
anything else?
ketchup, mustard. Is that something you want me to grab as well?
No, have Ollie grab that.
Yeah, I'll do that.
He's
Okay.
going to Costco.
Yeah.
Go to Costco.
maybe
Yeah.
some
Gonna get the huge jar.
He'll come in. He's got $9 worth of ketchup. That's
We'll
3.5
have enough for
gallons.
next year as well.
Yeah, Karen's gonna have enough food for next year.
Oh god, I love
Yeah,
it.
you want me to get some big jar of pickles as well?
Okay, so
maybe?
then what I'll do is I'll type
Yeah.
this up. This is just written in hand to make sure everybody was cool with it.
Yep.
Alright.
And so you're all aware of it and ready to go. And I really do mean this, though, when 2 of us are facilitating it, that I really want an active part of each one of you, and I'm willing to step back and let you run with it and stuff like that, each one of you. So really look at these notes so you're on the same page, okay?
Mhm.
You still, Mickey? You must have some of your notes right from Jim
Yeah,
Shaw's stuff,
did.
and then can you
That's
send
this.
those?
That's this.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
what you wanted the notes, I downloaded them and threw everything away, and then I said, "Oh fuck, this is training."
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
this will be the notes that you needed from that, and I didn't avoid it. So
Hey, Mickey, do you think there's any interest? People might want my notes from Interski.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay.
Love
So,
to see him.
I think there's a perfect venue for that. And I think it's called
Base
The
camp. Yeah.
Let me know when it's on. Send me a text.
Yeah.
There you go. I'll
Um,
post it on
last
Basecamp
thing,
so you get 3
Allie and
texts.
Karen, could you connect with Eric Kelly before Tuesday and make sure we
Yep.
have tickets? I will be at K1 by 10. I'll have to leave fairly early here, but I'm planning to be in there around 10 o'clock.
Okay,
Yep.
And I'll meet you downstairs in the base, maybe at the K1 somewhere in a table.
Tuesday at 10-ish.
Yeah, and
Yep.
Sarah already has the tickets set and everything else like that, so he should be aware of it. So if you can get him Monday, or
Yep.
find out
We'll
what his
cover
day
that.
off is with New
What's the
Year's,
number, Mickey?
the
Quantity?
number of the event.
The number
I think
of
it's-
participants?
Oh, I got 22.
22.
More than what we needed. Melissa thought that was a good idea because I know you
Okay.
have a pass and Allie has a pass.
Yeah.
We'll get 22. And then if we have spares, that's okay. Karen and I don't need them. Do you have guests, Mickey?
I don't think so. Jim Tassi won't be there. He's taking a sabbatical this year. He's going to be in Thailand, I think, during part of our stuff like that.
Yeah.
So he's
No
busy,
Biff.
won't be there. And well, Biff is
Retired.
Biff.
Mhm.
He retired himself
Okay, so if anybody has a guest or two, we can probably fit it in. Not a problem.
for sure. If
Alright.
they do, yeah.
Okay.
Always good to be
I'll
able to
also
do
send
that.
out- I have the room assignments too and stuff. I'll send that out too, and then everything's all set with P and Cascade.
Yep.
Cool. Well, thank you so much for everybody for all the great help and good talking to you about all this. I'm excited.
Looking
And
forward
by
to
gonna be fun.
committee, I think we need to talk about it. Not so much me, the coordinator. I think we need to talk about this by committee, by the steering committee. Start to float that on out there so we're saying the right things. So Carrie in the office knows that we're transitioning into utilizing
But here, let me do this. Let me stop. the
1/3
recording.
of the group.